Blood of My Blood Season 2 could secretly change everything we know about Claire's story. The final credits of Outlander may have rolled, but everything we thought we understood about that ending, it might just be a beautifully crafted illusion. If you look closely at the ashes of that emotional finale, the story isn't winding down at all. It is quietly loading the gun for one of the most massive, paradigm-shifting emotional reveals in television history.
Will Claire return in Season 2? That is the burning question that should literally be keeping every fan awake at night. Think back to the final season of Outlander. Claire kept bringing up her parents. You know, it wasn't just a passing remark, and it absolutely wasn't an accident. It was woven into the dialogue in a way that felt strangely, deliberately intentional. It's like the writers were planting this subconscious seed, forcing us to think about Henry and Julia again right before the main story officially closed its doors. In a universe this meticulously plotted, there's simply no way that was random.
So let's map out this timeline of danger. We're caught between two really pivotal moments here. On one hand, you have those intentional parental clues dropped in a Season 8 finale, but we've got to connect that right back to the crushing uncertainty of the Blood of My Blood Season 1 cliffhanger. Remember that exact moment? Henry, Julia, and baby William standing near the stones? The atmosphere is just incredibly thick. Danger is closing in from every single direction, completely suffocating them. And then, black. The screen just cuts and the story ends. No answers, no confirmation of their escape. Just this agonizing, suffocating uncertainty.
And that brings us to the dark theory, separation. Because if there is one undeniable truth we've all learned in the Outlander universe, it's that a lack of answers definitely does not mean our characters are safe. Actually, a lack of answers usually guarantees that impending heartbreak is already knocking at the front door. Just consider the agonizing divergence of their likely paths here. Julia possesses the gemstones, right? So she has a very real, extremely high chance of actually utilizing time travel to escape the immediate threat. But Henry's fate? His situation feels profoundly grim. He faces an incredibly high risk of capture before ever even reaching the safety of the stones. And if Henry is ripped away and captured, well, Season 2 is promising us a tone that is far, far darker than anyone is currently bracing for. So the absolutely crucial point is this, a timeline jump. What happens to Julia when she goes through? Imagine the sheer narrative weight if Julia, desperate and fleeing for her literal life, accidentally ends up straight in Claire's timeline. Now, I'm not talking about some clean, immediately ending into a perfect, happy reunion scene. I'm talking about being thrown years into the future. A broken mother finally finding the daughter she lost. Let that sink in for a second. That singular profound image, a deeply traumatized Julia suddenly crossing paths with a fully grown Claire, it could instantly become one of the most emotionally devastating moments this entire franchise has ever put to screen. But we have to look at the brutal reality of this paradox. Because this reunion, it's a trap. Henry and William remain trapped in the past. And because of that, Julia's fierce maternal and marital bonds would absolutely prevent her from staying in the future with Claire. The massive victory of finding her daughter would be snatched away almost instantly. She'd inevitably have to abandon that long-awaited reunion, physically turning her back on Claire to go back through those stones for her trapped husband and infant son. The reunion is tragically inevitably cut short. But as devastating as that time travel paradox is, we have to look at the other side of the board, the Fraser family twist. We are pivoting completely away from the magic of the stones now and stepping directly into the brutal, war-torn reality facing Brian and Ellen. And this brings us to the biggest, most paradigm-shifting twist hiding in the shadows of this story. Let's look at the lineage of William. Think about the assumed history we've just accepted all these years. What if the theorized reality is much darker? What if the baby William we all believe belongs to Brian and Ellen isn't actually their biological child? What if Julia and Henry, facing capture or outright death, are forced to make the ultimate sacrifice? What if they handed their infant over and baby William was swapped, raised by the Frasers purely to keep him hidden and protected from the impending war? We are talking about reshaping the bloodline. Think about what this actually means. This single, massive emotional reveal would completely rewrite the foundation of everything we, as fans, understand about Claire and Jamie's family history. Their bloodlines wouldn't just be connected by marriage. They'd be deeply interwoven through a desperate act of survival generations prior. And honestly, it feels exactly like the kind of brilliant, emotionally crushing reveal that this franchise absolutely loves to pull out from under us. Unfortunately, we're all going to have to sit with the suspense for a while. 2026. Specifically, we're looking at the fall of 2026, with October currently shaping up as the strongest possibility for the premiere date. That is when the fog will finally clear and these massive secrets will be dragged out into the light. Until then, we are just left staring at the stones, turning over all these clues, and asking ourselves one final, haunting question. Is Blood of My Blood secretly preparing the most emotional Claire reunion in Outlander history?